Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Dr. Gerald. We are Group 4, and this is our video presentation for the project that we created for the subject ITE013, Application Development with Emerging Technologies. We then proceed to the members. Mr. Jericho Bangud will discuss the parts of the animation and the setup of our Arduino, followed by yours truly, Michael Hans Barlaan, for the introduction, the logo, and the components. Mr. Patrick Linson for the idea regarding the animation, Mr. James Ivan Makalalad for the characters and sprites that we used, and finally Mr. Kenneth Obus for the animation background. Our logo acts as the group's public image. When it comes to pixelated characters, the group immediately thought about the image of a robot. So when Dr. Gerald asked us or requested us to create a logo, we agreed as a group to design a robot out of it. This is why we chose and created this logo. For our components, we have here the Arduino Uno R3 microcontroller board, a breadboard small for quickly building and testing circuits prior to finalizing any circuits design, an LCD to display the required output, a push button for interacting with the game, which will also function as the jump button later, a potentiometer that provides variable resistance, a resistor to limit or regulate the flow of electrical current, a piezo that will be used to generate the sound, and of course the wirings that will connect them all together. And the next presenter will be Mr. John Patrick Linson.
The idea behind our animation is that our character, instead of a simple running character, we decided that we will make a spaceship based character that changes its tail when moving, and when it jumps or move upwards, its tail will be fully visible. And for our obstacles design, we we base each obstacle on a meteor from inspired from different games from Brick Game or Space Impact. The idea behind our animation is that our character, instead of a simple running character, we decided that we will make a spaceship based character that changes its tail when moving, and when it jumps or move upwards, its tail will be fully visible. And for our obstacles design, we we base each obstacle on a meteor from inspired from different games from Brick Game or Space Impact.
Hello, sir. I'm Kenneth Opus. So here we have the background of animation. We have the background animation, which is a piece of artwork of the background of moving characters, like the spaceship, here within certain patterns. That way it feel like the ship are actually moving around and trying to dodge the asteroids. It will also help the game attract the audience to play. That's all.
Hello, I'm James Ivan Makalalad and I'm going to be talking about the characters and the sprites that we use in-game. So you will be taking the wheel and driving a spaceship in the void of space, and you will be maneuvering on an asteroid belt, avoiding a space rock, setting up a high score. Our game was indeed inspired by classic games typically found in a brick game, and if you can guess recall, as for the sprites or the assets that we have been using in the game, we have only used two assets, the obstacles and the spaceship. And you're going to see it in the demonstration later, but for now, that is all. And now it is time to learn more about the game through the next presenter. May I call on that?
So for the parts of the animation, the first thing that we will see is our logo, which is the head of the logo that Mr. Hans Barlaan came up with. After that, a press start text will appear in our game, and beside that is a score counter. Lastly, to start the actual game, you need to press the button on the breadboard. You will see that the spaceship will avoid the asteroids and it will continue endlessly until we hit asteroid. So lastly, we will talk about the setup of our Arduino. For this project, we put 8 wires inside the digital pins which is connected to our breadboard, and each wire has different colors and different outlets for our LCD. We put simply each wiring at the top of Arduino Uno R3 to make it look clean and presentable. At the bottom of the Arduino Uno R3, we simply insert the red wiring for the 5 volts that will give the power to our LCD monitor, and the black wiring for the GND that will measure the right amount of voltage for our breadboard, and also a potentiometer that generates the variable resistance as its shaft is rotated. And for that, our game will start when you push the button that will give the signal to our LCD to run the game. And we also put a piezo speaker that gives a melody to our game, and lastly, a LCD that will display our initial game, the spaceship, something like that. So that's all.
So basically, our game starts with our logo blinking together with our created unique melody. And it will proceed to the menu screen wherein you can see the press start and the scoreboard on the right side. When you press the button, the game will start automatically. The default position of our character is on the bottom, and when the button is pressed, it will move up while dodging asteroids endlessly until it crashes and records the highest score. And for you to play it again, it can be played again by pressing the button again, and it will record the current high score.
As for my personal reflection about this project, it's that honestly at first I didn't think that it would be possible for us to make a game with that small monitor and let alone make a melody. For me, it was hard to make this project because of the limited space on the LCD. But as we proceed day by day, we come up with the idea of the character and obstacle, and also the melody of this game. Yeah. And lastly, I wish that I could perform it live when we go back to face, so I can feel what it's like to work with the real Arduino Uno RT.
As for my personal reflection on this project, I didn't think it would be possible for us to accomplish this game utilizing the Arduino LCD since it is just a small monitor. So it's also difficult to create a tune for it because you have to pair it with the logo or game you're producing. Because of the restricted area on the LCD, it was difficult for us to complete this project, but because we worked as a group to come up with the characters, obstacles, and the tune of the game, we finished it on time. Making the game on the Arduino Tinkercad is enjoyable, but what if we could do it in a face-to-face setting? That seems fantastic.
As for my personal reflection about the project that we did, it is an interesting project because I never knew that we can use an Arduino R3 board to produce sounds, let alone create a simple game as what we can see in the Chrome when there is no internet connection. And it is nice, although a little challenging since I know little about the main generalizations of the topic itself. And of course, it is really nice to make a game, a simple game, out of the time that we had. And I just wish that we can do it live or in face to face once this pandemic is over. So that's all.
Good day, sir. I am Ken Tobus, and this is my reflection in the project we created. First, I feel excited and nervous in creating a game in the LCD since it is my first time to encounter it in Arduino Uno using the Tinkercad website. I gained knowledge on how the Christmas tree and traffic light works. Overall, we performed the project by applying what we learned in Module 1 to 6 by the guide of our prof.
For our project, mostly my job is I'm the main programmer of our group. So each of my group mates has a specific task. So what we did was we created a game using Arduino based on old brick games or Space Impact, wherein instead of shooting bullets, we created a spaceship game that dodges obstacles. I think it is a interesting project because it is a little challenging for me because I only have minimal knowledge about creating Arduino projects, and I think it's a very interesting project.
That's all. Thank you.